Hello everyone, my name is Elspeth, this is the Planeswalker Pantheon, and today we are going to be bringing you a box opening of some Zendikar Rising draft boosters. Here are our two promos. I got one more of the Bring a Friend promos, which is the Reliquary Tower, and the Buy Box promo, which they've decided to go back to using cards that are available in the set of Aura the Skyclave. So that's great. We'll just get into this box, shall we? Alright. Ooh, we've got another Zendikar Rising Expedition box top, which we'll save right for the end. I like that they're starting to put them actually in the box and not expecting people to hand them out. Anyways, first pack. Okay, so looks like these are Japanese style. So we've got our commons here. First uncommon is a kite sail cleric. Second uncommon is Lol Mage's Dominion. Our third uncommon is Imara Mystic, and our rare is actually a dual phase. It's a full art River Guide pathway and Lava Guide pathway. It's one of the new modal dual phase lands in the set. And we got our forest and our token. That's good. That's a nice start. Full art of the pathway lands are great. I think that all these modal dual face cards, be it the lands or the spell lands, are going to be great for future formats. Our commons. Tuck Tuck Rebel Fort. First uncommon is Cleric of Life's Bond. Second uncommon is Rockslide Sorcerer. Our third uncommon is Brushfire Elemental, and our rare is the black-white pathway. So it's the Bright Climb pathway and the Grim Climb pathway, which is great. And our land is the swamp, and another dual face reminder checklist card. Alright, next one. So that's not bad. We've gotten two dual face cards as our modal cards there. Alright, so our commons. We've got a showcase version of the Prowling Felidar, which was absolutely insane in draft. Royal Eruption, probably some of the best removal. Stonework Pack Beast. This is actually a bit of a callback to the one that counted itself as an ally in the original Zendikar, so it was a nice little callback there. First uncommon is Iridescent Horn Beetle. Second uncommon is Grotag Night Runner. Our third uncommon is Salindi Visions, which is our dual-phase modal card for this pack, and it becomes Salindi Isle. And our rare is Kargan Intimidator. So for 1 and a green, you get a 3/1 1-creature human warrior. Cowards can't block warriors, so it's a bit of a callback to Boldweir Intimidator from Lorwyn block. It's a 3/1. You can pay 1 and choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Kargan Intimidator gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Target creature becomes a coward until end of turn, or target warrior gains trample until end of turn. Ooh, and we actually got a foil showcase of Kazandu Mammoth. That looks really nice. I've never actually seen a lot of these in foil. So Kazandu Mammoth is 1 and double green for a creature elephant, a 3/3 landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Kazandu Mammoth gets its +2/+2 until end of turn. I've seen this being played in Arena a fair bit in like the mono green stompy decks. And on the back, we've got a really nice Kazandu Valley. It enters the battlefield tapped and it can tap for green. But man, that really shines. Right there. Actually, you know what? We'll do this. We'll put any cool full arts or showcases in there. And we've got our island and we've got our card there. I believe we had another showcase. Yeah. So any full arts or showcases will go into their own pile because they just look cool. And what we'll do is we'll get rid of these. Commons and uncommons will go into their own pile. Rares will be here. There we go. There's so many different versions of cards nowadays. It's sort of hard to keep track. I used to have friends back in my local store who would just collect the cards, like every single version. And so that's just becoming harder and harder these days. Alright, so our commons. Here is Binding's great. Into the Royal is a nice reprint, nice back, nice little callback. Cleansing Wildfire is actually seeing a little bit of play in Modern. It's actually been combined with things like Flagstones of Trokia as a way to sort of ramp out in red-white. I mean, personally I like to do it with Ghost Quarter, but that's just me. Our first uncommon is Goma Fado Vanguard. Second uncommon is Merfolk Windrobber, seeing a lot of play in Standard at the moment in the Rogue decks. Our dual face modal card is Palaka Predation, which will turn into Palaka Caverns if you want to have it as a land. And our rare is Archpriest of Iona. So for 1 white, you get a creature human cleric. Archpriest of Iona's power is equal to the number of creatures in your party. Your party consists of one of each of a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. That's real neat. And our land, and we got our copy token. I keep forgetting that the Japanese packs at least have these really nice handy little tear strips. So I keep going to open them the normal way. Alright, our commons. I just can't wait to get back into store and just play Magic like normal again. Our first uncommon is Thundering Rebuke. Our second uncommon is Base Camp, which is a slightly worse card from the last Zendikar set. I can't remember the name of it offhand. It's probably not important. Our dual face modal card for the pack is Juari Disruption, which can be Juari Ruins. And our rare is Maddening Cacophony. Believe it or not, there is a mono blue mill deck. You can either self-mill. There's either a self-mill version of the deck where you're playing with mono blue Devotion and Thassa's Oracle, or you can just play straight up mill and try and mill your opponent out. So Maddening Cacophony is 1 and a white for a sorcery. You can kick it for 3 and a blue. Each opponent mills 8 cards. If this spell was kicked, instead each opponent mills half of their library rounded up. Oh, we've got a foil swamp there. That's real nice. And our normal land is a normal swamp. Thankfully, 2 different arts. One was Sam Burley and the other one was Adam Paquette. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Adam a few years ago now. It was a GP. I think it was actually one of my first GPs years ago. I can't remember the year offhand. But I do have his artwork of Manamorphose from Modern Masters on my wall. Anyways, here's the next pack. We've got our commons here. Let's see. First common is the Mirror Captain. It's a little bit damaged on the top there. Marasa Root Grazer. I've seen people go off with landfall triggers with this card, and it's kind of insane how good it is. Palaka Predation is our dual face card for the pack. And we actually got a mythic, so we've got a Shire Soul of the Wild. So for 3 and 2 green, you get a legendary creature elemental. A Shire's Soul of the Wild's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Non-token creatures you control are forest lands in addition to their other types. Now, there's a lot of little tricky rules interactions that sort of come with this card. Basically, board wipes don't really affect it because all the creatures, including this one, all become lands. So if you try to board wipe, it's not a good idea for you to do that. Let's just put it that way. But there's some really cool like rules interactions. Like you can use like land destruction spells on a Shire to actually kill your Shire. There's some real interesting things on there that a Shire plays around with, like rules speaking. You know what? Let's go like this. Our commons. First uncommon is Skyclave Pickaxe. Our second uncommon is Skyclave Shadowcat. Our third uncommon is Skyclave Cleric, which is our dual modal face card for this pack. It can also be Skyclave Basilica as well. And our rare is Craigplate Baloth. So for 5 and 2 green, you get a creature beast. You can kick it for 2 and a green, and it's a 6/6. It can't be countered. It has hexproof and haste. If Craigplate Baloth was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters on it. That's a big boy. Alright, next pack. Got McKinney Ox in the showcase frame. Our first uncommon is Demon's Disciple. Second uncommon is Relic Golem. Our third uncommon is the Silindi Vision / Silindi Isle, which is our dual face card for this pack. And our rare is Linvala, Shield of Seagate. So for 1, a white and a blue, you get a legendary creature, Angel Wizard with flying. It's a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, choose target non-land permanent and permanent controls. Until your next turn, it can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Sacrifice Linvala, choose hexproof or indestructible creatures you control, gain that ability until end of turn. Oh, we got a full Smite the Monstrous there. And we got our Forest and our Kitty. Alright, so our commons. Royal Eruption's great. We've got a Skyclave Squid in the showcase form. Prowling Fellow, that's a normal one. Anticognition. Our first uncommon is Rockslide Sorcerer. Our second uncommon is Rooster Drakes, a very good build around uncommon if you can get into that kicker deck. Our dual face modal card is Sparkfilled Hazard, which can be the Sparkfilled Cave. If you needed to. Before Uro was banned, this is probably like one of the better ways to deal with it, because Uro would enter play, triggers on the stack, you Sparkfilled Hazard the Uro, and because it was dealt damage to it and you'd sacrifice because it wasn't escaped, it would actually put itself into exile instead. And our rare is Tajiri Paragon. So for 1 and a green, you get a creature elf. It's also a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. You can kick it for 3, and it's a 3/2. When Tajiri Paragon enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a card that shares a creature type with it from among them into your hand. Put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. Got our planes and our dual face reminder. Our next pack Alright, so our commons. First uncommon is Shatterskull Minotaur. Our second uncommon is Concerted Defense. Our dual face card for this is Vastwood Fortification, which I think people have been underestimating in draft as a very easy combat trick. That can also be a land if you need it to be. And single green for a permanent +1/+1 is not the worst. I mean, we've paid single green for a temporary +3/+3 back in the day. And our rare is Throne of Makindi. So this is a land you can tap to add a colours, pay 1 and tap it to put a charge counter on Throne of Makindi. Or you can tap it and remove a charge counter from the throne and add 2 mana of any one colour. Spend this mana to only cast kick spells. Got our planes and our dual face card. Alright, what do we got now? Alright, so our commons. Second favourite Tormenting Voice artwork. I still love the one from... I actually still love it kind of references a little bit the Duress art from Khans. Block with Colligan just yelling out, Zergo, pardon me. Our first uncommon is Relic Amulet. So there's a small sort of partial cycle of relics cycle that sort of cares about creature types. This is the one that cares about wizards. Our second uncommon is Canyon Jabroa in the really cool showcase framework. Our dual face modal card is Spikefield Hazard. And our rare is Relic Robber. So for 2 and a red, you get a creature Goblin Rogue. It's a 2/2 with haste. Whenever Relic Robber deals combat damage to a player, that player creates an 0/1 colors Goblin creature colors Goblin construct artifact creature token with this creature can't block. And at the beginning of your upkeep, this creature deals 1 damage to you. Actually, it's a little bit of a reference to Tuk Tuk, because he's stealing Tuk Tuk's head there. If we get a token, I'll be able to show you it a little bit clearer. But it turns out to be that he's stealing Tuk Tuk's, the explorer's head. He was a goblin who got caught up and eventually just got killed while he was on expeditions. Our commons. I like the fact that a lot of the equipment in the set actually self-attach. At least for the first one. It gives you the first one for free. Our first uncommon is Skyclave Plunder. Our second uncommon is Relic Vial. So this is the one that cares about clerics. And our third uncommon is Spoils of Adventure. And our rare is another pathway. It is the Branchloft pathway and the Boulderloft pathway. So this is the one that taps for green or white. And we actually got a foil dual face card here in Sajiri's Shelter, which can also be Sajiri Glacier. I actually like this shelter personally. I think it's a really cool card. And we've got our plant. Alright, so our commons again. Akum Hellhound, seeing a lot of play in mono red at the moment. First uncommon is Windrider Wizard. That's a mouthful. Second uncommon is Blood Chief's Thirst, which is great removal in standard at the moment. Our third uncommon is the Kabira Takedown, which is our dual face modal card, which will also be the Kabira Plateau if we need it to be a land. And our rare is Omnath Locus of Creation. So for a red, green, white, and a blue, you get a legendary creature elemental. When Omnath Locus of Creation enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It's a 4/4. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability is resolved this turn. If it's the second time, you add red, green, white, and blue. If it's the third time, it deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. It's a shame that it got banned. Honestly, I think, although it was way too good, it's still too good. Like, I remember reading it and being like, this is a lot of abilities to put on a card with a card like Omnath in the format. I mean, not like a Uro in the format, sorry. So, next pack. Our commons. Oh, there's a Coom Hellhound in the showcase artwork. Our first uncommon is Spring Mantle Cleric. Our second uncommon is Coil Blade Master. Our dual face modal card is Kazul's Fury, so it's a fling for an extra mana, but it can also be a land if you need it. So I don't mind paying one more mana if it can be a land for a pretty decent effect. And our rare is Magmatic Channel. This is sort of seen some experimentation, I believe, in like the old Maru Pyromancer decks. So for 1 and a red, you get a creature, human, wizards, and 1/3. As long as there are 4 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, Magmatic Channel gets +3/+1. Tap and discard a card. Exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. And our foil is Unnulled Colony. And we got our mountain. This is the goblin construct that I was referring to. This is basically meant to be Tuk-Tuk's head. So that relic robber has just gone in there and just stolen the head of a poor goblin explorer that met an unfortunate end. Alright. Our commons. First uncommon is Gomafada Vanguard. Rasa Spratling. Our dual face modal card is Kabira Takedown. And our rare is Aura the Skyclave Hierophant. So for 2, a white and a black, you get a legendary creature called Cleric of Lifelink. It's a 3/3. Whenever Aura Skyclave Hierophant or another cleric you control dies, return target cleric card with lesser converted mana cost from your graveyard to the battlefield. We've got our forest and our token there. Man, if only I opened this box a little bit earlier, that Omnath would have been a great hit, huh? But I don't mind. I don't open these packs for money. I open them for pure enjoyment and for hopefully the enjoyment of you guys. Spitfire Legak. And our showcase form. Bubble Snare's Great Blue Removal. First uncommon is Allied Assault. I could have sworn that was another common. Our second uncommon is Vine Gecko. Our third uncommon, which is our dual face modal card, is Being Veil, which can be the Ban Coast. Our rare is Pylath World Sculptor. So for 4, a red and a green, you get a legendary creature elemental. It's a 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, you create X01 green plant creature tokens for each basic land you control. And with landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put 4 +1/+1 counters on target plant. So it's kind of not the reverse Avenger of Zendikar, but it's close enough. And we've got a foil Mrs. Zendikar right there. Our planes and our check card. Alright, next. Commons. Our first uncommon is Lithoform Blight. Second uncommon is Skyclave Geopede in the really cool showcase form. Our dual face modal card is Melikia Rebirth, which can be the Melikia Maya, if we so choose it to be. And our rare is actually a mythic. It's Nissa of Shadowed Burrows. So for 2, a black and a grey, you get a legendary Planeswalker Nissa. She has 4 loyalty. With landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can put a loyalty counter on Nissa of Shadowed Burrows. So for +1, you can untap a target land you control. You may have it become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste and menace until end of turn. It's still a land. You may put a creature card, or you can -5. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. That's really neat. I hope she gets to see a little bit of play in Sand. I just don't think she has a home as of yet. in standard at the moment. I hope she does, though, because it just seems like a lot of cool things that she could do, just in Magic in general. And the fact that it's a May for the +1 to turn it into a creature you don't have to, is pretty cool. Alright, so, into the Royal. The rest of our commons right here. Our first uncommon is Relic Golem, so this is the one that cares, not necessarily exclusively cares if you have rogues, but rogues are the only ones that can really sort of turn it on as quickly as it does. Our second uncommon is Clerics of Life's Bond. Our dual-face card for this pack is Balaged Recovery, which can be Balaged Sanctuary if we need it to be. Our rare is Nighthawk Scavenger, so this is really good in the Rogues deck. So for 1 and 2 Black-Eater Creature Vampire Rogue, it has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink. It's a little callback to good old Vampire Nighthawk back in the days. It's a 1+ star, 3. Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to 1+ the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. Cards in graveyards only have the characteristics of their front face, which is important for dual-face modal cards. And we've got a foil negate. That's really cool. This is probably like my second favourite negate art. I still love the one that Magali Villeneuve did a while back. And we've got our Swamp, and we've got our token card there. Alright, next up. So, commons. Skyclave Squid in the showcase. Gnarled Colony. Let's have the gate. Feed the Swarm is very much a landmark card. I want to try and get as many 4s as possible because it's the first time that Black has been allowed to deal with enchantments ever in Magic. I remember seeing that and being like, wow, that's kind of crazy that Black has now got that ability. We've got Merfolk Falconer as our first uncommon. Our second uncommon is Paired Tactician. Our third uncommon is Imara Wizard, which is our dual-face modal card, which can be the Imara Skyfalls, if we need it to be a land. Our rare is Maul of the Skyclaves, which is actually seeing play in Modern in Death and Taxes builds, believe it or not. So, Maul of the Skyclaves, for 2 and a white, you can artifact equipment, and when it enters the battlefield, you attach it to a target creature you control. Equip creature that's +2/+2 has flying and first strike. And we got a foil showcase in Valakut Exploration. So for 2 and a Radiant enchantment with landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard. Then Valakut Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. So that's pretty neat. That's 2 full showcases in rare, which is pretty cool. That's not bad, because Andy Mammoth is great. Valakut Exploration, I love the artwork for it, and I love cards that sort of give that sort of effect in red. That sort of like well, not hasty draw is probably not the best term, but that sort of like use it or lose it sort of mentality that red has for draw, which is a really neat thing. I love things like the Red Siege back in Khan's block, which is great. Outpost Siege, that was it. Our commons are right here. Alright, first uncommon is Syndiclasm. Second uncommon is Thwart the Grave. I really love this artwork, I really love this artwork, it's really cool. Our third uncommon, which is our dual-faced card, is Black Bloom Rogue, which can be Black Bloom Bog. Our rare is Coveted Prize. So for 4 and a black, you get a sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Search your library for a card and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. If you have a full party, you may cast a spell with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Got our mountain and our core warrior. Bubble Snare. Our first uncommon is Veteran Adventurer. Second uncommon is Sign of the Swarm. Our third uncommon, which is our dual face card, is Malakir Rebirth. Our rare is Soul Shatter. So for 2 and a black, you get an instant. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Our foil is a utility knife. And we got a forest. And we got a little construct, a little beep boop. Little beep boop hedron. Territorial Psy-Cat, which is really good. It just grows so exponentially quickly. You have to kill it straight away in draft. Disenchant. Sky Dancer. Feed the Swarm, which is great. Relicax, this is our first uncommon. This is the one that deals with warriors. Kargan War Leader, which is our little warrior lord. Our third uncommon is Fearless Fledgling. I love this derpy artwork. You've got there's the showcase version of this artwork that makes the bird look really majestic, and you can tell that it's a griffin. But then you got this art, and it just makes it look absolutely silly. And our rare is actually a dual-faced modal card. It is Glasspool Mimic. So for 2 and a blue, you get a creature shapeshifter rogue. You may have the Glasspool Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature you control, except it's a shapeshifter rogue in addition to other types. So it's a cheaper clone. You can only clone your own things. But hey, you get a land out of it as well, which is pretty cool. And our foil is a Moss Pit Skeleton. So we've got our land, and we've got our checklist card. Next pack. Where is... Alright. So, our commons. Our first uncommon is Fireblade Charges. This is something that I've also played with on and off in Mono Red. Our second uncommon is Relic Vials. This is the one that cares about clerics. And our dual face card for this pack is Song Mad Treachery. So for 3 and 2 red, or it can also be the Song Mad Ruins if you want it to be a land, but it's otherwise a threaten effect. And our rare is, it's actually a mythic. It's a Stormgate Stormcaller. Seagate Stormcaller, sorry. So for 1 and a blue, you get a creature, human, wizard. It's a 2/1. You can kick it for 4 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less you cast this turn when you cast it. If Seagate Stormcaller was kicked, copy that spell twice instead, and you may choose new targets for the copies. We've got our island and our checklist card. Alright, so next up. Alright. Our commons. Rabid Bites Back. First uncommon is Canyon Jabura in the normal artwork. It's so cute. And it's got Bruce Tarl cursing at it as though it were one of his Pillarfield Oxes. Our second uncommon is a Merfolk Windrobber. Our modal face card is Buy-in Veil. And our rare is Luminarch Aspirant. So for 1 and a white, you get a creature, human, cleric. It's a 1/1. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And we get our swamp and our dual face card. Alright, next pack. So, our commons. Oh, we got a Dreadworm in the showcase artwork, which is really cool. Field Research, it's a divination, otherwise you get a little bit more out of it if you kick it. Our first uncommon is Taunting Arbor Mage. I nearly missed that one. Second uncommon is Attended Healer. Our dual face card is a Coom Warrior, which can also be a Coom Teeth, if we need it to be a land. Our rare is Confounding Conundrum. So for 1 and a blue, this is an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to its owner's hand. Weird way to foil out, to bug out Fabled Passage, I guess. And to foil out, a third of Ura's effects back in the day. Forest, and our dual face card. Next pack. Alright, so our commons are right here. Our first uncommon is Thundering Spark Mage. Our second uncommon is Moss Pit Skeleton. Our third uncommon is Amara Wizard, which is our dual-faced modal card. Our rare is Charax the Raging Isle. So for 2 and 2 blue, you get a legendary creature, Leviathan Crab. Yes, Leviathan Crab. It's a 0/17. Spells your opponent's control cast that target Charax the Raging Isle cost 2 more to cast. You can pay 3 to give Charax plus X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control, which is really cool. It's a big crab. And we got our dual face card and our mountain. Next up. Alright, so our commons. First uncommon is Fireblade Charger. Second uncommon is Veteran Adventurer. Third uncommon, which is our dual face card, is Shujeri Shelter. Our rare is Myriad Construct. So for 4 mana, you get an artifact creature construct. It's a 4/4. You can kick it for 3. If Myriad Construct was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each non-basic land your opponents control. When Myriad Construct becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colors construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. And we got our foil, which is a Cleansing Wildfire. That's a nice little foil for a pickup. And we got our, foil, our island, and our copy token. Alright. So, our commons. Oh, Canopy Bailoff in our showcase. And we'll continue on with the rest of our commons. I miss drafting. Normally I'd fill this space up with little stories from drafts that I've done. And yeah, I can draft on Arena, but it's not the same as interacting with people. Some of my favourite stories are from when I've drafted with people. But hopefully, if things start going well, we might be able to go back. Our first uncommon is Roiling Regrowth. So this is the Fixed Harrow. Our second uncommon is Acquisitions Expert. Our third uncommon is Ruin Crab. So it's a little callback to the little old Hedron crab back in the day. And we've actually got one of the mythic flip lands. This is Emiria's Call. So for 4 and triple white, you get a sorcery. Create 2 4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Not angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. And it flips over, and it's Emiria the Shattered Skyclave, which is a land. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and you can use it for white mana. And we got our Drake, and never forget about Drake. Next up. Alright. Our first uncommon is Emiria Captain. Second uncommon is Roost of Drakes. Our third uncommon is Iridescent Horn Beetle. And our rare is another one of the special lands. It's Turn Timber Symbiosis. So for 4 and triple green, you get a sorcery. You can look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has a converted mana cost of 3 or less, it enters with 3 +1 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it can be, looks like the Amiri's Call. You can have it enter the battlefield untapped if you pay 3 life, and can tap for green. And we have our mountain and our flip card. Alright. Next up. So I've got 2 of the flip cards. Some really good showcases in the Mammoth and the Exploration one, which was in foil. Alright, so we'll go back to our commons. First uncommon is Journey to Oblivion, which is a callback to Journey to Nowhere. We have a Shadow Singer, and our dual face card is Makindi Stampede, which can be Makindi Maces if we need it to be. And our rare is Skyclave Relic. So for 3 mana, again, you can kick it for 3. It's indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 tap tokens that are copies of Skyclave Relic, and you can tap to add 1 mana of any color. Say goodbye to the Darksteel Relic, guys. We've got a new friend in town. And our foil rare for the box is Master of Winds. So for 2 and 2 blue, you get a creature Sphinx Wizard. It's a 1/4 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you can draw 2 cards and discard a card. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may have Master of Winds base power and toughness to become 4/1 or 1/4 until end of turn. Until end of turn. Alright, so I believe we've got about 6 packs left. Alright. First uncommon is Marasa Sproutling. Second uncommon is Soaring Thought Thief, which is great in the Rogues decks. Our dual face card is Sajiri's Shelter. And our rare is Swarm Shambler. So for a single green, you get a creature fungus base. It's a 0/0. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green creature insect token. You can pay 1 and tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on Swarm Shambler. Our land and our silly ad card, which should really be arena codes, wizards. I pick, if you want to do advertisement cards, either have them be arena codes or, have them be some sort of equivalent card. You can get cards, or just have them be redeemable for arena in some way. Or just go back to having a token in every pack that you guys were doing a little while ago. First uncommon is a Lull Mage's Familiar. Second uncommon is Mind Carver. Third uncommon, which is our dual face card, is Kalani Ambush, which can be the Kalani territory if we need it to be. And our rare is Tarabox Hope's Demise. So for 2 and a black, you get a legendary creature, Demon Cleric. It's a 2/2 with flying. Tarabox Hope's Demise has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Tarabox. If that creature was a cleric, you may draw a card, and if you do, lose a life. Island and insects. Alright, so our commons. First uncommon is a Ravager's Mace. Second uncommon is Merfolk Falconer. Our dual-faced Myrtle card for this pack is Songmad Treachery. And our rare is Skyclave Shade. So this is a little bit of a callback slightly to Bloodghast. That's it. So Skyclave Shade, for 1 and a black, you get a creature shade. It's a 3/1. You can kick it for 2 and a black. It can't block. If Skyclave Shade was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if Skyclave Shade is in your graveyard and it's your turn, you may cast it from your graveyard this turn. And we've got our forest and our check card. Alright, so commons. Oh, we've got a Territorial Scythe Cat in our showcase artwork. First uncommon is Skyclave Plunder. Our second uncommon is Grotag Night Runner. Our dual face card for the pack is Balagad Recovery. Our rare is Thieving Skydiver. So for 1 and a blue, you get a creature Merfolk Rogue. It's a 2/1 with kicker for X, and it has flying. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, gain control of the target artifact with converted mana cost X or less. If that artifact is an equipment, attach it to the Thieving Skydiver. That's going to be very, very good in Commander. I can see some insane things happening with that. And we've got a foil Skyclave Plunder there. We've got our Island, which is a Remnants of the Bucket. And we've got our Green-Black Hydra. Alright. Second last pack, guys, before we get into our box topper, which I can't wait. Like, I love the concept of box toppers. I think it's just one of the cooler ideas they've done for Magic collecting. Anyways, we've got a Kazandu Nectarpot in our showcase frame. Cunning, and we'll get to the rest of our uncommons. More Cleansing Wildfires is always great. First uncommon is a Sure-Footed Infiltrator. Second uncommon is Vastwood Surge. Our third uncommon is Zoff Consumption, which is our dual face card for the pack, which can be Zoff Bloodbog if we need it to be. Our rare is a normal showcase version of Valakut Exploration. Sure, so we've got a foil showcase in the normal, and we've got our mountain and our dual face card. This is the last pack, guys. So soon we will be opening up our box topper, which is going to be great. Alright, so first uncommon is Paired Tactician. Second uncommon is Sign of the Swarm. Third uncommon is Tangled Florahedron, which is our dual face card for the pack. And our rare is Verazol the Split Current. So for X green and a blue, you get a legendary creature Serpent. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each mana spent to cast it. And if you're playing Commander, this does include your command attacks, apparently. Whenever you cast a kick spell, you may remove 2 +1/+1 counters from Verazol. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. And that's our land and our dual face card. So guys, let's get to the thing we've all been waiting for, and I know that I've been waiting for it as well. Our little Expedition box topper. Now let's try and open it without utterly ruining it. Okay. And I'll try and do it so I don't take a sneaky peek at it. There we go. Alright, so our box topper is... It's Bloodstained Mire. I think this is actually my second one that I've opened in this form, actually. So, Bloodstained Mire, if you don't know what that does, you can tap it and pay 1 life, sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, search your library for a swamp or mountain, put it into the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Great with fetch lands, great with original duels, you know, great with the tri-lands, the ones from Ikoria, because they don't actually have basic land types, and they come to play tapped anyway. So you and Ness is okay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. I know you guys are probably sick of me saying this, but it really does help our channel grow. And I do want... Oh, and everything just fell. It just helps us grow, and you can actually find us on Facebook. The links are down below at the Planeswalker Pantheon on Facebook. You can also follow me, Elspeth, on Twitter. The links will also be down below. Anyway, guys, I hope to see you later.